Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor. Nice place. Very nice place. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death, and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Well, that's annoying. Where does it go? That is annoying, folks. There you go. Sorry about that. Button disappeared in my software, and then it finally came back. That was supposed to be off. Apologies for that. Blank screen there. Monday, October 13th, 2025, Columbus Day in America, celebrating the European discovery of the New World. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's not Indigenous Day. It is Columbus Day. People who call it Indigenous Day are just racist. If they want Indigenous Day, then create Indigenous Day. They're just racist haters. Welcome back to the program, and it's a pleasure to have you join me today on a historic day. Donald Trump ends another war. Donald Trump gets the release of hostages that Joe Biden did nothing to help with. And the New York Times runs an article today saying, well, geez, why wasn't this done sooner? Of course, the intent is to disparage Donald Trump, the man who actually brought peace in this settlement, not to actually discuss why it took so long. Because you see, the New York Times never ran articles during the entire tenure of Joe Biden. Why did it take so long? Why isn't Biden trying to negotiate peace? Why is Biden arming Israel? Why is Biden not doing anything? Much like the conflict in Ukraine. Blaming Donald Trump because he didn't end it on day one. Well, it's Joe Biden that made it possible in the first place. Joe Biden, the Democrats, who fueled the war by sending ammunition, artillery, weapons of war, tanks, Bradleys, Patriots, all sorts of things to Ukraine to fuel a war. Donald Trump has sought to end it. And of course, this is really eating at the hearts of the Democrats right now and the leftists in Europe. They are so much got their panties in a bind. Politicians in the UK ludicrously claiming that they played a role in this. No, they didn't. They played no role. This was all Trump and Qatar. and a little bit from Egypt. Nothing from the United Kingdom, nothing from France, nothing from Germany. Too busy navel gazing at their own failed policies, allowing their countries to be invaded by evil, nasty people who continue to molest, rape, murder Germans at will, with virtually nothing being said except by anybody except the Alternative for Deutschland. And the same thing in the UK, where when you go to a petrol station with multiple pumps and there's 20 people in line, you find yourself the only white boy in the heart of England. Now, how did that happen? How did that happen? Well, because the leftists surrendered their nations and their culture and their norms, and the world is quickly becoming a land of misery. Except here in America, where we've turned the tide against this evil leftist garbage, and we're trying to restore order. Well done, Donald Trump. Let's hang on a second here. Now, what have I got? Oh, sorry. It's from Carolyn Levitt, like she actually knows me. Just nonsense. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done it yet, folks. It's easy.
That was easy.
Sounds a little rough there.
That was easy.
That sounds better. Okay. Well, I have a little bit more to show you here if I can find it. No, it's not there. Oh, here. A disruptive member in the Knesset was dragged out when he interrupted the proceedings and tried to insult Trump. Vanner says, the reason I know the right is correct, morally right, is because they call it their own as well. Indeed, indeed, indeed. We do. Yep, they just hate Donald Trump, and it's killing them that he solved this. Trump keeps cleaning up the mess that Democrats have created for 50 years, and their willing accomplices in the Republican Party have destroyed all hope of reason. But we are turning the tide against these people, and it is long overdue. Turning our attention now to the news of the day, of course, it is the hostages are freed. Trump hails the historic dawn of a new Middle East. President Trump spoke to the Knesset in Israel shortly after the 20 remaining living hostages were handed over. And Trump is already winging his way back to America on Air Force One at this hour. Hamas also announced it will release the bodies of 4 deceased hostages. These terrorist ghouls who abducted over 250 people after gang raping, murdering, slaughtering, maiming, and killing over 1,000 civilians on October 7th, 2023, launching a war, invading Israel, and then being all excited about it. Trump declares the dawn of a new Middle East. I think President Trump is a bit over-optimistic. But Monday marked the first time Hamas and its allies in Gaza were not holding any living hostages since they abducted 251 people from southern Israel during October 7th. The bodies of 28 hostages have been declared dead, are expected to be released soon. That does not account for all 251 of the hostages, though, does it? We've had a handful of hostages released in the past, 20 living, 28 dead. That's 48. That's 203. Some were released. What about the rest? Irish Times says Trump hails historic dawn of a new Middle East in his Knesset address. Oh, and it is the Navy's birthday. In the Navy, you can sail the 7 seas in the Navy. Congratulations to Courtney McBride and the United States Navy, the junior service, on their 250th birthday, catching up with the Army finally. U.S. President says the war is over. Well, I hope so. That's a bit optimistic in my view. Al Jazeera says Hamas and Israel exchange captives and detainees before the Gaza summit. 20 Israelis released for nearly 2,000 Palestinians. Well over 100 of them are convicted terrorists. Releasing terrorists back into Judea and Samaria, into Jerusalem, into the Gaza Strip is not a recipe for success. Not a recipe for success. Netanyahu has announced that he will award Israel's highest decoration to President Trump. Ludwig just gave 350 Rand super chat saying, I don't need it, Colonel. Watch your PayPal. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. I hope that's not a bad thing. But let me go look at my PayPal since you mentioned that. Can I get into my PayPal? No, because it's forgotten who I am. It's annoying. Is that the right password? I think that's the right password. Find out. Yeah, AMN. Wants me to get the app. I don't want the app. Oh, I don't see anything in my PayPal. Oh, it's just like, sorry, folks. Someone sent me a message here in a previous PayPal. Yeah, these people sent me a message back in September, and I already wrote to them and didn't respond. There's nothing in my PayPal. Anyway, not important. Anyway, thank you, Ludwig, for the 350 Rand Super Chat. Clouds are gathering. Netanyahu will award Israel's highest decoration to President Trump. The Israeli Prize, the Jewish state's highest award, which has never gone to a non-Israeli citizen. Donald Trump is the greatest friend the state of Israel has ever had in the White House. The Prime Minister thanked Mr. Trump for his 20-point peace plan that ended the war in Gaza and saw Hamas release all remaining Jewish hostages. The Israeli award, never before awarded to a non-Israeli citizen. There you go. Probably because I'm reporting on what's happening in Gaza. That's probably why your YouTube's acting up. Yeah. Sorry about that, Barbie. I'd suggest you exit and come back, or let it play and then delay it. What is going on with Ludwig? Why are people saying Ludwig sees talk to us? Okay, I got to stop what I'm doing to find out what's going on over here. No one can save my point of origin any longer. I wish people would just take this tech off our people. I have found knowledge nobody should know. Ludwig, what's going on with you? That's a cryptic statement. What is going on? All right. Does anybody have any idea what's going on with Ludwig? Thank you for the super chat. I haven't seen any PayPal, but thank you for that. Erica says YouTube is working fine for her. All right, folks, pay attention to whatever's going on with Ludwig here if he responds back to us. Yeah. So maybe it's just a moment. I don't mean to frighten people away, but we came up with this one last night. You know, when life has you down, don't just give up on things. This is from last night. It's a short one, so stick with me. But this is a song that we came up with last night.
When the rain comes down, it don't mean drown. Just grab your boots and dance around. A little mud never hurt a soul. It's how we grow, yeah, it's how we roll.
The sun's hiding, but it ain't gone. Keep your heart turned on, turned on.
Keep smiling, keep shining when the storm tries to steal your song. Keep smiling, keep climbing till the dark clouds that don't belong. Joy is strong.
When whispers creep in saying you can't win,
just shout louder, drown them out again. Turn the doubts into your fire. Every stumble builds something higher. When shadows linger, light your spark. Don't let them pull you into the dark. Keep smiling, keep shining when the storm tries to steal your song. Keep smiling, keep climbing, tell the dark clouds they don't belong. Oh, misery won't stay where joy is strong. Oh, misery won't stay where joy is strong.
Well, folks, once again, proving that it's not about the clicks. We lost 30 people while I played that song. Goodbye. Good riddance. Yeah, when dark clouds come, folks, just send them away. push them away. Alrighty, let's get back to the news here, folks. Hopefully we're overreacting here, or maybe we're misunderstanding something. I hope that's the case. The European Union delivers bad news to South Africa. It's not just Donald Trump who's bringing the tariffs. The Europeans have brought tariffs to South Africa. Well, blame the Trumpster, but South Africa's unfair trade practices are coming back to haunt it. European Union plans to impose 50% tariffs on steel imports. South Africa's steel industry will be crushed, especially when it comes to stainless steel. Local industry is urging government to act urgently to protect the domestic market. How? They didn't intervene to stop the U.S. from a 30% tariff. They lied to the public endlessly. In fact, this week, Parks Tao is deluding himself or lying to the public once again about tariffs in America. How are they going to stop tariffs from Europe? They don't even have the intellectual capacity to negotiate with the Americans, let alone with the Europeans, who are sympathetic. Earlier this week, the European Commission proposed a 50% tariff on all steel imports above a quota that will be cut by 45%. So 45% less steel can be exported to the European Union, and tariffs will go to 50%. South Africa is dead in the water. Dead in the water. There will be no G20 in Gauteng. Whoop-de-frickin-do, like I care. Domestic terrorists threatening to disrupt international event in South Africa, folks. They're not backing down. Nothing to do with the G20 summit, but these avowed domestic terrorists, which is what they are, threatening terror, threatening to intimidate people. When you use intimidation to get political change, you are a terrorist. Under South Africa's presidency, South Africa's Municipal Workers Union in Tshwane has threatened to disrupt the highly anticipated G20 summit scheduled for Joburg in November. And they aren't backing down. In an effort to rally support from all COSATU-affiliated unions, Regional Union Secretary Donald Monokasi stated on Wednesday that SAMRO is fighting the city of Tshwane's attempt to exempt it from a collective bargaining agreement that includes salary increases of 3.5% and 5.4%. We are still of the view that while our issues are not resolved, we're not going to have the G20. And this is a threat. A bench warrant for his arrest should be issued. This is a threat. More than 40 people die after a bus plunges off a road in South Africa. At least 42 people, including 7 children, were killed when a passenger bus plunged off a road in a mountainous area of South Africa on Sunday evening. At least 38 people have survived, according to an official in the northeastern province of Limpopo, where the accident happened. Passengers, mostly from Zimbabwe and Malawi, were traveling back to their home countries, according to transportation officials. The crash happened 55 miles from the Zimbabwean border on the N1. Ramaphosa described the crash as a tragedy for South Africa and our sister states of Zimbabwe and Malawi. This is compounded by the fact the incident has taken place during our annual transport month, where we place special focus on the importance of safety on our roads. Of course, last year, 45 people were killed in a different bus crash in Limpopo province. Maybe somebody needs to take a look at the condition of the roads. Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor Manuel has squandered all of his hard-earned credibility. Trevor Manuel now exposed himself as a beggar in chief. That's right. Trevor Manuel, the once respected finance minister of South Africa, is nothing but a beggar. A beggar, a beggar, a beggar. That's right. And a welcher on debts. You see, it's okay when Trevor Manuel is the finance minister of South Africa to borrow money from the International Monetary Fund, to borrow money from the World Bank, to borrow money from the African Development Bank. But hey, now that he's no longer in that position, let's not pay the money back. Trevor Manuel joins call against exorbitant African debt servicing costs. They're not exorbitant. You cheapskates won't pay your debts because you're welchers. More than 30 leading economists, including they're not leading, former finance ministers and central banker have called for an immediate debt relief for low and middle-income countries, warning that loan repayments are preventing governments from funding basic services. But see, the problem was the loans were to pay for basic services. Why aren't you paying for basic services? What did you do with the money? What did you do with the money? Countries around the world are paying exorbitant debt servicing costs instead of paying for hospitals, schools, and climate action and other essential services. But the problem with this nonsense, Trevor the beggar, is that you were given the money on the premise that it was being used for those things. So where did the money go? Well, Trevor the beggar, that's his new name. He squandered his hard-earned reputation as a serious finance minister, is yet another shill for begging and demanding. And wait for it, they'll play the race card. It's coming. Open letter to ministers of finance and governors of central banks, the governors and alternative governors of the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and leaders of the international financial institutions. Ahead of the forthcoming World Bank Group International Monetary Fund annual meetings, we implore leaders to urgently address the unsustainable debt challenges facing low and middle-income countries and turn debt into hope. Again, they have laid down a poor countries initiative. enhanced HIPC, the COVID debt relief, and now they want more debt relief. Just stop lending money to these dirtbags who can't pay their bills. Don't lend money to people who aren't creditworthy. Because here's the upshot of this. The money doesn't come from the government. And if it did come from the government, it still comes out of taxpayers' pockets. The money comes from the likes of Citibank and HSBC and other lenders like that. And so they pass these loans on to these corrupt, inept African countries and Latin American countries and Asian countries. And then they don't bother paying the debt back. And then they go, oh, it's so mean. And then the debt is wiped out like it was under HIPC and under enhanced HIPC and under COVID debt relief. And then the prices of our banking services and our loans go up because of bad debt by giving money to these people who have no intention of paying it back. And Deutsche Bank in Germany, that's another one. Yes. Nikki Botta, thank you for the 7 Rand super chat. Your first ever super chat. Thank you for that. Yeah, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. We urgently reducing current debt burdens and servicing costs, including World Bank and IMF replenishing the debt. You know, a lot of these loans are at 0% interest. They don't tell you that. Many of these loans are at 0% interest. So they're losing money. After inflation, the loan is worth less than when it's paid back, assuming it's paid back. And they want relief from that. They want relief from the principal, from the money they borrowed then squandered. On behalf of the commissioners and experts contributing healthy debt on a healthy planet, Joseph Stiglitz, the idiot from Columbia University. Of course. The rest of these people. Trevor Manuel. 24 losers who just excused debt. And here's their report. Healthy debt. Healthy debt is just stop loaning to these people toward a virtuous cycle of sovereign debt. But see, here's the problem. Even if the IMF and the World Bank don't loan money, these governments force banks domestically, like in Ghana, to loan them money, and then they welch on those debts and their economy collapses. Then they demand IMF and World Bank rescue. You see the cycle here? Expose these frauds for what they are. Trevor Manuel has squandered his reputation with this begging. Well, stop the Stalingrad. That's the story in South Africa. The National Prosecuting Authority seeks a court ruling to force Jacob Zuma trial to proceed after 18-year delay. Well, Zuma will never be convicted or tried in this trial. It's never going to happen. Well, it'd be nice if it did, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Former President Jacob Zuma is accused of 18 charges of corruption, racketeering, fraud, and tax evasion linked to his allegedly corrupt relationship with his former financial supervisor, Shabir Sheikh. Except it's not allegedly. Judge Hillary Squires found Shabir Sheikh guilty of corruption, and in that court, based on the evidence, said that Jacob Zuma is also guilty, only he's not on trial here. There's nothing alleged here. They've already proven the case. Why is he not in prison? It's a fair question. Well, Durko is embarrassing. Little, nappy wearing, confused, doesn't know what's going on, wet behind the ears, just say whatever he wants to as long as it's evil about white people. Ronnie Lamola, his parliament's upset over financial regression, leaving embassies neglected and crumbling. Well, to be fair, this junior doo-doo head has only been the minister for a couple of years, so this neglect goes on for many, 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 many years. The Department of International Relations and Cooperation finds itself at the center of a storm after an audit opinion expressed from an unqualified audit with findings and qualified audit with findings. What the hell is this? Is that English? Finds itself at the center of a storm after its audit opinion regressed from an unqualified audit with findings to a qualified audit with findings. That's a mouthful. The decline following 3 consecutive years of unqualified audits has ignited a debate in Parliament. So what's the point? They're neglecting embassies. Their buildings are falling apart. That's the bottom line. All that gobbledygook means that the South African Foreign Ministry is neglecting its embassies. Well, another horrific murder of a law enforcement official. Cape Town officer dies after being hijacked, stabbed, and stoned in Philippi. A 26-year-old law enforcement advancement plan LEAP officer has succumbed to his injuries while trying to get away from 2 suspects who had hijacked, stabbed, and stoned him in Maracana informal settlement in Philippi. Suspects hijacked him, stabbed him multiple times, and stoned him. According to Safety and Security MACO member J.P. Smith, the officer's colleagues found him in the settlement and rushed him to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. We call on the community to come forward with information regarding the second suspect. Total disdain for the rule of law. Well, folks, if you're angry at multi-choice, don't be. South Africa doesn't own it anymore. The frogs own it. That's right. Now, with the recent acquiring of shares, Canal Plus, the French company, owns 94.39% of MultiChoice. Wow. They're going to take a secondary listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. The process for Canal Plus's takeover of MultiChoice has edged towards finish line after holders of 92% of the shares accepted the offer. The offer of 125 Rand per share closed on Friday was accepted by holders of 217 million MultiChoice shares, 92% of all outstanding shares. They intend to acquire all MultiChoice shares it does not already hold. MultiChoice is gone, sold to the frogs. South Africa's health minister is pretty clueless. He talks about the financialization of the healthcare market. Ridiculous nonsense here. Financialization of healthcare is something that Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi cautions against. Well, I caution against listening to Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. This pervasive financialization of healthcare. So Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, where does healthcare come from? Is it found in nature? Oh, look, there's a rich vein of healthcare. Oh, we have deposits of healthcare over here. Is it just found in nature? Are doctors just sprung from the earth's soil? A cardiologist, a pediatrician, a forensic. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow, look at this, folks. It's just coming out of nature. It's just a right. It's not. Who pays for healthcare, dingbat doorknob? Aaron Motsoaledi. Who pays for this? Magical elves? Do they pay for it? No. Taxpayers pay for it. And freeloaders get free rides. Yes, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi showing his ignorance once again. Motsoaledi was looking at managing the complexities of the health system and resource. The problem is what we call financialization of healthcare. He said there's a growing influence of financial markets, investors, and corporate interests in the healthcare sector. Duh. This phenomenon is transferring healthcare from a public good, which it is not, and a social service into a commodified, profit-driven industry prioritizing financial returns over people's health and well-being. And of course, that is total poppycock, balderdash, and the rantings of a lunatic who knows nothing about what he's talking about. How do you think antiretrovirals came about? Because government invented them? How do you think that cancer medicines come about? Because government invented them? How do you think hip replacements and knee replacements and heart transplants come about? Because of government? No. They come about because of for-profit institutions that are trying to maximize profit and return shareholder value while providing health care to a hungry market. That's how that comes about. It's no coincidence the vast majority of all life-saving drugs are produced in America, where we bear the burden of the research, development, trials, and fielding before they're copied by Indians and South Africans illegally making knockoffs. No, other than AstraZeneca and Sandoz and a couple other companies, it's all America for the most part produce these. No one else is producing this stuff. They copy it, they steal it, they violate the intellectual property and make replicas of it, particularly in India. But it's America that foots the bill because it is and should be a market-driven sector. The mainstay of treatment of these is prevention of disease and promotion of health, and yet financialization disregards those. It unashamedly promotes curative healthcare as a mainstay of the healthcare system, not preventive healthcare. See, Dr. Motsoaledi, if you were actually a real doctor, not some Sangoma trained in the Soviet Union, where did you get your medical training, Dr. Motsoaledi? Or are you actually a medical doctor or just, a historian? If you actually understood medicine, you would realize that the healthcare industry exists to treat people and to cure people and to provide care for them. If you want prevention, that's the responsibility of a different industry. And guess who else? Your health ministry. Your government should be promoting healthy lifestyles. Your government should tell these obese Tannies in the townships to get off their bums and exercise instead of sitting around and spreading their legs and reproducing. That's what you should be doing, Dr. Motsoaledi. Yeah, that's what you should be doing. Preventative care is the responsibility of the individual. You can help advance that as a government. You can help advance that as a healthcare fitness industry. It is not the responsibility of the medical industry to prevent healthcare. That's stupid. That's like being a farmer and planting maize and then coming out and cutting the crops down before they bear corn stalks, before they bear ears of corn. Well, I'm planting maize this year. And then in the middle of the season, you just cut them all down and you get no harvest. That's stupid. Why in the world would the healthcare industry promote things that are not their responsibility? Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Aaron Mozzolati has joined the ranks of Angie Mocheka in the 15% crowd. Grady Montascia, if they don't give us the money, we won't give them the minerals. Vying for the title of Jabba the Hutt from Nalini Pandor, Grady Montascia loses his high court bid to throw out the Zondo Commission Bosasa findings. In July 2022, Grady Montascia launched a legal challenge to the state capture inquiry's recommendation that he faces criminal investigation. In addition to defending the legitimacy of that recommendation, retired Chief Justice Raymond Zondo also argued that Montascia was legally required to obtain the permission of the Supreme Court of Appeal president to sue him, and had failed to do so. A Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg Judge Yvette Dipinar has accepted that argument and dismissed Montascia's review of the basis that it is a nullity. Well, it's time to prosecute Grady Montascia for the Zondo Commission findings. Long overdue. Well, Lewis loses the battle to end the ShopRite Pepcor deal. Competition Appeals Court closed the door in its attempt to invoke competition law to block a 3.2 billion rand sale. Lewis has fallen short in its bid to oppose a deal that will see Pepcor acquire ShopRite's furniture business. In April, the Competition Commission recommended a deal to the Competition Tribunal on conditions that jobs would not be lost and merged businesses would increase procurement from local furniture suppliers. Lewis is a leading player in the South African furniture business. They applied to the tribunal for the intervening party for the deal. Worst performance since joining the URC. Well, look at that. The truth comes from Johan Ackerman, the genius who was supposed to save the Bulls. Well, because Jake White couldn't do it. But the Bulls were turgid, atrocious. Henri Pollard in their midst. Springboks all around. And they were disgusting and poor performing over the weekend. Bulls coach Johan Ackerman didn't take to heart criticism from Bulls president Willem Strauss. Strauss made his frustration known in a broadcast WhatsApp group, saying it was the worst performance since joining the United Rugby Championship. The defeat was the Bulls' first this season after 2 successive home wins against the Osprey and Leinster. Bulls coach Johan Ackerman opted out of responding to questions about a WhatsApp message. Arguably our worst performance since joining the URC. Terrible effort, not interested and disconnected. We now conceded 14 tries in 3 games. We need urgency and intensity, according to the boss. Ackerman suffered his first URC loss in 3 matches, shrugged off the message. I'm not going to comment on any messages. There are a lot of people comment because everyone is doing their job as well as they can. I said to the players that in reality, families go through tough times, and show me one family that's perfect. We're in a relationship between the players and staff, and we're in this together. There is no hiding. What? I thought Johan Ackerman was the great saver, the genius who would save Bulls rugby. They were atrocious. They weren't even in the game. Guys, Saturday was painful. It was one of the least enjoyable days of the year for me. Covering the Lions' turgid performance, covering the Bulls' turgid performance, covering the Sharks' turgid performance. It was pathetic. And even the win by the Stormers on Friday was a sloppy, messy affair. And against quality teams, they won't win. Fortunately, they're going to Italy, so they have a chance to continue their win streak and stay atop the log. Renowned South African rugby official has passed away at the age of 93. Max Bays was one of the most popular referees in the local rugby scene during the 1960s and 70s. He was 93, and he passed away on Sunday. He refereed 7 tests, and probably his most famous was the final international test match in that famous Springboks with the British and Irish Lions tour at Ellis Park in 1974. It was a 13-13 draw. Controversial call awarding a try for the Brits, and then controversial call later denying a try for the British and Irish Lions. So he has passed away at the age of 93. Fair winds and smooth sailing to Max Bays. Kenya's Catholics are upset. They're changing their wine. Catholic Church in Kenya is using new wine after the previous vintage became popular for sale in secular consumption. The old wine was made locally. It was available for sale in shops and bars. Catholics make up 20% of Kenya's population. It reached a point where even non-Catholics were using it. Catholics prefer to keep what is sacred exclusive to the Catholic practice. The old wine was made by Kenya wine agencies and had an alcohol percentage of 18%. The new 750 milliliter bottle of wine is imported from Lutzville Vineyards in South Africa and has an alcohol percentage of 17%. The newly approved wine is not for sale at any business outlet. Okay, so good news for South Africa. You're exporting small quantities of wine to Kenya for the sacrament. Well, there you go. Perhaps that's what Ronnie Lamola and Parks Tower are up to. And Johnny Boy Steenhuisen. Did John work that deal to export a couple cases of wine to Kenya for the Catholic sacrament? Well done. Was that the agriculture minister, John Steenhuisen, or was it Ronnie Lamola or Parks Tower? But well done on their part, whoever did it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been criticizing South Africa's government for ignoring the situation in Tigray, in Somalia, in the Central African Republic, in the DRC, and especially in Sudan and in South Sudan. Well, finally, the South African Foreign Ministry finds its voice. South African government has strongly condemned the deadly attacks carried out by the RSF on October 9th. Authorities say thousands of civilians, including women and children, remain trapped. In a statement issued by the Department of International Relations Cooperation, South Africa expressed its solidarity with the people of Sudan who continue to bear the brunt of the conflict. We remind all parties of their non-negotiable obligations under international law, including international humanitarian law. There must be no impunity for serious violations of international humanitarian and human rights law. And by the same token, there must be no immunity or impunity for United Nations Security Council sanctions against Libyan warlords, South Africa. Funny how this statement, they finally come on to what I've been arguing about for months. They're ignorant on this and say nothing about it. And then just a day or two after it's exposed that South Africans are shipping Gazelle helicopters to Libyan warlords, they are suddenly interested in African issues. I smell a rat. Leaders gathered in Egypt earlier today for a peace summit, including Donald Trump, who is now winging his way back to America. Egypt is also awarding President Trump the country's highest civilian order, the Order of the Nile, for stopping the 2-year war between Israel and Hamas. So Trump gets 2 awards on this trip. Over 20 world leaders were set to join President Trump at the Sharm el-Sheikh resort. Wow. Moment of pure joy. Egyptian presidential spokesperson initially said Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu would be attending something, but Netanyahu later said he would be unable to attend due to time constraints. Wow. The order is given only to Egyptians and foreigners who offer Egypt or humanity invaluable services. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badir Abdelhadi said the long-term success in Gaza plan would depend on Trump's continued commitment. We need American engagement, even deployment on the ground. No. To identify the mission, task, and mandate of the force. Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt and Israel have awarded Donald Trump the highest honor ever. In the case of Israel, it's never been awarded to a non-Israeli citizen. Yet the Democrats, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Nancy Pelosi, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, all these evil, vile, repulsive human beings hate Donald Trump. The New York Times, Washington Post, they hate Donald Trump. Why do they hate people who end wars? Are they just evil? You can answer that question. Mike Huckabee says that UK official is delusional over the claim that Britain played a role in the Gaza peace deal. U.S. Ambassador to Israel. On Sunday, Bridget Phillipson, Education Secretary in the cabinet of Sir Keir Starmer, told Sky News Sunday morning with Trevor Phillips that the UK's behind-the-scenes contributions played a major part in shaping an agreement expected to secure the release of hostages. These are complex matters of diplomacy that we're involved in. We do welcome and recognize the critical role the American government played in getting us to this point. Excuse me? I don't see Sir Keir Starmer getting a award from Egypt or Israel. Look how far leftists will go. They try to even steal the accomplishments of Donald Trump. Shut up, Bridget. Sit down. Go read your diaries. Bridget Phillipson. Go read your diaries. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee dismissed the lunatic's claim, saying, I assure you she's delusional. She can thank President Donald Trump anytime just to set the record straight. President Trump has delivered real results, not pathetic posturing like Emmanuel Macron and Starmer. American leadership brought a ceasefire and return of our hostages, said Sharon Haskell, Israel's deputy foreign minister. So the Brits are trying to take credit. There is a super chat button. What are you talking about? Let's just go get to the super chat. Okay. There is a super chat button. Oh, my goodness. Come on. Go this way. Let me see. Come on. That's how long it takes to get to this thing. View on YouTube. Okay, I'm there now, almost. There's a super chat button down there below chat. Right there. Shows support for Colonel Chris Wyatt. Shows support for Colonel Chris Wyatt. Right there. It's there. Yeah, the Brits want to take credit for doing nothing. And they did nothing the whole time. Starmer's been in office for a long time. Yep. And so is Macron. And they didn't end this conflict. Yeah. Whoops. Wrong one. Coming back to the news. New party leader in Japan is poised to get going, although there's been talk this government may not make it. While a tougher line of Beijing and support for Taiwan are expected, experts believe that Takachi's agenda will be constrained by economic factors. Indeed, Japan's first female prime minister, she's in waiting, Sanae Takachi, is expected to strengthen defense ties. Together with so many of you, we've carved a new era for the LDP, the Liberal Democrat Party. Sanae Takachi, Japan's former economic security minister, said shortly after defeating her opponent in party leadership. But that government has yet to be formed, and she hasn't been elected prime minister. That's the expectation. Well, neither side flinches. How did this get here? That's the wrong one. Sorry, let's get this back in order here. Debbie Fox, 350 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that, Debbie. Clouds are gathering. Dutch government has seized a Chinese-owned chip manufacturer. Woo! It's all like Donkey Kong, folks. It isn't just Trump. It isn't just Trump. The EU is putting quotas on steel, tariffs on steel, 50%. And now the Dutch are seizing Chinese chip manufacturers. Yep. The Netherlands government announced on October 12th it's taking control of a Dutch chip maker over concerns about the potential transfer of crucial technology to its Chinese parent company. Nexperia, which manufactures semiconductors for cars and consumer electronics, is owned by Beijing-based company Wingtech, which is partially owned by the Chinese Communist Party. The Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs called the move highly exceptional and said it was in response to acute signals of serious administrative shortcomings and actions. The intervention gives the government the power to reverse or block management decisions it sees as harmful. Production will continue at the facility. Wow. The Dutch government takes over Chinese chip maker. Neither side in the impasse on the budget in America is willing to budge as we grind into the third week of this shutdown. Neither side flinches as shutdown pain intensifies. Thousands of federal workers lose their jobs. I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown, said Mr. Trump on social media. Administration suspended billions of dollars in infrastructure projects in New York, Chicago, and canceled billions of dollars in clean energy projects in 16 states. And I say, bully for Trump. Well done. Stop wasting our money over nonsense. If it's important, the private sector will do it. A wave of knife-wielding attacks in Germany proves that Angela Merkel's moronic Wir schaffen es garbage, racist anti-German screed was stupid. A decade after allowing the country to be flooded by millions of criminal alien invaders on the false premise that they were refugees, when in fact most of them were military-aged men, many of whom have now sexually molested, raped, and assaulted German girls, particularly on Silvesterabend a few years ago, covered up by the Bundeskriminalamt and by the Bundesregierung and the intelligence agencies in Germany, who knew full well that over 1,100 German girls were sexually assaulted, molested, and raped by these unwanted alien invaders at a Silvesterabend celebration, particularly in the city of Köln, and they cover this up. German cities struggling under the unrepentant Islamization of their towns and their cities. And this isn't Islamophobia. Germany has had Muslims living there for decades. They invited the Turks, most of whom are Muslims, and they had their mosque and they behaved and they were well participating in German society. But this wave of criminal alien invaders is sought to undermine German norms, and it was facilitated by the evil, corrupt, anti-German, racist behavior of Angela Merkel. A wave of knife attacks underscores Germany's struggle to assimilate refugees. They're not assimilating. And by changing law and allowing people like Syrians to become German citizens, this is a joke. Do you know the Germans have a clause in their law that prevents children born to German parents and American parents in a 6-year period in the late 1950s and early 1960s from becoming German citizens? But they let Syrians become German citizens. These are people who have a German parent, usually a German mother, born in Germany, denied German citizenship, but Syrians are given German citizenship. Ridiculous. A brutal August knife attack on an American who stepped in to defend a young woman from harassment on a train in Dresden has reignited a fiery debate over immigration. John Rudit, a part-time model, was slashed across the face in an attack expected to leave him permanently disfigured. Person briefly detained in the case as a Syrian refugee, but officials have not arrested or identified. Briefly detained. So they haven't arrested anybody for the attack on him. It follows other high-profile crimes and in years past involving illegal immigrants who have flocked to Germany to take advantage of the country's immigration-friendly policy. No, they didn't flock for the immigration policy. They flocked for the free ride. Thank you, Amanda Larson, for becoming a member. They flocked to Germany for the free ride, to bring their poison culture and their barbaric medieval practices to Germany. Yep. 700,000 Syrians that we know of are living in Germany. Why? Go home to Syria. They gave citizenship to over 30,000 Syrians. 83,000. Changes in German law have made thousands. Thank you for the super chat, Bonnie. 40 Rand. Have made thousands of Syrian refugees eligible for citizenship. Why? They're not German. They're not German. They're not German. Many of them don't even speak German. The Federal Statistics Office said 291,955 people were granted German citizenship last year. Seriously? It's a 46% increase from 2023. Syrians made up the largest share. 83,150 Syrians became German naturalized citizens. Why? Why? What are they contributing to Germany? Well, once again, back to the story. Hostages and Palestinian prisoners are freed as Trump hails historic dawn in the Middle East. The hostages in Gaza were returned to Israel today, and nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were freed from Israeli jails as part of a ceasefire. Mr. Trump told lawmakers that the agreement marked the historic dawn of a new Middle East. Well, I hope so. I hope he's right. Yep. You are coming home, Einev Zangaukar, the mother of Matan Zangaukar, said on a video call with her son, their first conversation since he was abducted 2 years ago. Wait until we hear about the horrific things these people were subjected to. Chris Sailors, thank you for your long membership. Wait until we hear about the horrific abuses these people have suffered, and then they tell us about those who died or murdered alongside them. The Pentagon is reviewing the AUKUS treaty, and UK and Australia worried. The Pentagon is reviewing a defense pact with UK and Australia, throwing into doubt a strategic partnership that aims to give Australia nuclear-powered submarines and deter Chinese aggression in the Indo-Pacific. The three-way alliance, known as by the acronym AUKUS, was signed back in 2021 under the Biden regime. It encompasses not only the sharing of key technology with Australia to equip with nuclear-powered submarines, but also the close cooperation between the allies. Why are we giving Australia, an unreliable partner, once the most reliable partners, who punched above its weight, but has been insulting and degrading to America and has allowed its country to be overrun by Chinese communists and surrenders its country to the Aborigine? Why would we give them nuclear technology? That seems bizarre. U.S. stocks have rebounded after Trump said, the China situation will be fine. U.S. stocks surged today after Trump tried to cool trade tensions with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Don't worry about China. It'll all be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. No, we don't want to help China. I do want to hurt China. I want China to be put back in a box. They're malign, malignant, evil, and a threat to global security. I want them put back in a box. Sorry, Mr. Trump, we disagree. The Energy Department is slashing $24 billion in fantasy unicorn green projects. Yay! It will affect Republican and Democratic-led states, despite the media lying, saying that Trump is punishing Democrat states. Trump is punishing Democrat states, turning it all into politics. It's the Democrats who shut down the government, not Trump. Trump has no say until a bill is put on his desk. The Democrats have shut down the government. They're the ones hurting Americans. And the media lying, saying that Trump is punishing Democratic states, forgetting to mention that he's also removing projects from Republican-led states. $7 billion targeted mostly for Democrats. And see right there, cuts of more than $7 billion targeting mostly Democrats. So the $24 billion cut, $7 billion is going against Democrats. So does that mean the other? Oh my goodness. This is insane. The other $17 billion is targeting Republican states? Early stage climate projects across the U.S. from Louisiana to New York to Washington are on the chopping block, putting thousands of jobs at risk, especially in burgeoning carbon capture and hydrogen sectors, according to a list reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Funding for more than 600 projects is set to be axed, totaling $24 billion. But they keep saying mostly Democrat states. 7 from 24 is not mostly. That's a small percentage. They lie right in the story there. You see, the Wall Street Journal is, I think I'm going to cancel my subscription. It's just, I can't even read the garbage they publish anymore. Attorney General Letitia James is headlining a rally for the Islamo-fascist Mamdani, the future mayor of New York City, which has become an Islamic foothold in America. In her first public appearance since she was indicted on federal charges of bank fraud, Ms. James expected to rebuke President Trump and make a case for Mr. Mamdani. Oh my goodness. The rally in Washington Heights comes as Mamdani, who maintains a double-digit lead over Andrew Cuomo, is kicking off a get-out-the-vote push for November 4th. Well, they all show their true colors. Dozens are rescued from storm-ravaged Alaskan villages that swept away homes. Coast Guard and the Alaska National Guard were conducting search and rescue operations in 2 villages along the Bering Sea on Sunday. Emergency crews rescued dozens of people in western Alaska on Sunday as flooding from the remnants of Typhoon Halong battered remote coastal communities and tore houses off their foundations. The Coast Guard and Alaska National Guard, along with state law enforcement officers, used C-130s and Black Hawk helicopters to assist low-lying villages of Kipnuk and Quilingluk, said Jeremy Zidek, a spokesperson for the Alaska Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. It's a very serious situation. Kipnuk and Quilingluk on the coast of the Bering Sea each has a population of less than 500. There are no roads in or out of the communities, which have limited infrastructure and resources. Some of the most remote communities in the United States. Remnants of the typhoon have been the exception. Now they're becoming the norm. Well, maybe you should monkey with nature. And there you have the news for today, Monday, the 13th of October, 2025, Columbus Day, the day that the hostages came home. What's over 1,800 years ago? It must be horrible to watch your home float away. Perhaps people shouldn't build things in ecologically unsafe areas. Saw them big trouble for aiding a Libyan warlord. Why are you... Is Ronaldo host here? I don't see Ronaldo. Why is that at Ronaldo thing there? What's that all about? I sort of broke that story after Erica Gibson. I mean, that's old news. What are you talking about? I mean, my video is not doing all that great. It has 40,000 views. Let's see what it's at now. 41,000 views. It's really tailed off. Getting about 500 per hour. But yeah, that is a mouthful, Peanut. It is Starman that is directly responsible for Russia acquiring fully functioning intact Storm Shadow. I believe so, yeah. All right, Doretta, what's going on? Is it true that the only reason the rand is holding because gold commodities? No, that's not true, Krista. First off, that shows not your part, but whoever told you that shows their ignorance of the gold market. South Africa is an also rand. South Africa's gold is inexpensive, not very profitable. It's only profitable because gold's selling for such a high price. It's deep, hard to reach because of lack of investment in the mining, because they gave the mining over to all these BEE companies and they're not competent at running them. And so they've not invested in them because that's what Africa does. It doesn't invest in things. It lets other people carry the load. So gold is not the reason why the rand is not collapsing. The dollar's uncertainty is why the rand isn't collapsed. Darlene Fourie, thank you for the 70 rand for the coffee. Yes, that's the reason why the rand is not collapsing. It has nothing to do with gold. Maybe a small amount, but the reality is South Africa's gold, it's like the 10th largest producer of gold on the planet. It's fluctuated between 6 and 10 over the last several years, so I don't know what the current level is, but it's not a major producer. China produces the most gold in the world. U.S., Australia are also major gold producers, as well as Canada. But South Africa is, the people who think South Africa is a major gold producer are living in the 1970s. That's not the case anymore. Not the case anymore. You're welcome, Daniel. Brits told them they can be independent on the other side of the Vol in Orange. That's how the four truckers arrived in the Free State. No, that's not how they arrived there. That's not accurate and true at all. They picked up and left because they were angry. No one told them they could be free there. They went there on their own. 10 hostages have been released. That's not true, Daniel. To my knowledge, all hostages have been released. Yes, I am interviewing Rob Hersoff tomorrow. Why are you asking that question, Amanda? Did you hear a rumor or what? And it's at 4 p.m. South Africa time. 416 likes. Currently, hit that like button, folks. I have it as Islamist that allows Sharia law that causes all the issues. Turks complained in the 90s they had to stay more than... Exactly, Philip, you're right. They complained in Germany they had to wait 20 years for citizenship. Now they're giving it to Syrians illegal Syrians who invaded Germany, their reward for invading Germany is citizenship? No. Longest shutdown in place. I don't know if it was 34 days. List the U.S. government shutdowns, okay? Let's see what we got here, okay? 35-day was in 2018, 2019, when the Democrats shut down the government. Yep. Yep. So let's see if I can find the actual list of them here. 1980, 1 day it was shut down. 1981, 1 day. 84 for 4 hours. 86 for 4 hours. 1990, 3 times, or 3 days, excuse me. 1995, 5 days. 1995, again, 21 days. 2013, 16 days. 2018 for 3 days. And 2018, 2019 for 35 days. The Democrats shut things down. Yep. They shut things down. Yep. That's it. So that's the longest one ever. So they shut down the government during Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Obama, Trump. The only time the government was never shut down was during the corrupt regime of Joe Biden as he sold us down the river. In recent history, every other president's had a shutdown. Rape is a war crime. That's correct. It's a crime against humanity as well. It's lunchtime. Well, it's lunchtime here. I'm starving. I haven't eaten. President Trump deserves recognition through awards around the world. Great reminder of the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. Yep. Well, the Peace Prize is a joke. Trump needs the real work and others. Yeah, Trump does the real work. Others take credit. Exactly. That's right. Fleet does the flying and MI does the dying. The mobile infantry made me who I am today. Fleet does the flying, MI does the dying. You get fresh grapes in for a minute. Okay, what is this? Anyone figure out what's going on with Ludwig? And I'll go back to he was telling me to watch my PayPal, so let me see if there's anything to watch. Let's see if I can get back in my PayPal. All right, Ludwig, hang in there. Hang in there. Wow, Ludwig gave me a very kind PayPal payment, which is unnecessary. That's kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Kind of hard for me to enjoy that donation, Ludwig, when you send that message. It makes me worry about you. Streaming killed, apparently still killing multi-choice. Yep. Well, multi-choice is rip-off and, unreliable program is what did it too. I've had multi-choice in several African countries. It's been unreliable. Wonder why they didn't pass a law for years that don't allow government shutdown. Because it would be unconstitutional, most likely. You can't pass a law that says the government can't shut down. I mean, I'm not an expert on that. Talking about a typhoon, I see we had a tornado in Germiston the other day. Really? I didn't see that. Francis says, no, Colonel. No what? No what, Francis? Is South Africa assisting a warlord a very hot topic in South Africa? It's not on any news site. It was only on City Press, and I did a video on it. Have other people done it? Let me see what some of the comments on that say. Chris, you're always on point, accurate, and truthful, and head of the news. Yep, and I was in this case. Although Erica is the one that broke the story on City Press. But my analysis, I think, is spot on. Thanks for exposing the government mobsters. Thank you for all the work you do. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you. Waiting for the hate wankers. There'll be one of them. Well done, Chris. Okay, I saw these comments. Okay. All right, cool beans. Yeah, so that video is at 41,100. Is it still at 100? That video 6 months ago would have been at 200,000. Yeah, 41,200. So, but we got some new subscribers from it, so that's cool. Because YouTube keeps taking away the subscribers every day. It's almost like a game. Yep. So we had big turnout yesterday. Very small one today. Yesterday we have 3,470 at noon today. Yesterday at noon we had 12,000 because of that video. Yeah, that's why. So anyway, whatever. We'll just keep plugging along, doing the best we can here. Netherlands does not currently have a government. Yes, I know that. But the bureaucracy took over. What's going on here? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well. Sorry about that, folks. It's a veterans organization. Seeing that you have to shave every day while in the military, how long after you left you decided to grow so long? Oh, George, you must be new to the program. So I don't have a thing for facial hair. I don't really necessarily like it. I was clean shaven in the military, occasionally had a mustache when I was new arrival because I always looked so young. I mean, in my 30s, I looked like I was 15. In my 50s, I looked like I was 33. I'm not kidding. Look at the photographs of me. I mean, I got a photograph of me when I was 40-some years old in Liberian. People were like, you're 20 what? No, I wasn't 28. So, didn't have facial hair. You're correct about that. So, sorry. So anyway, so what happened with the beard was I was in Japan for the Rugby World Cup my last month on active duty, and Typhoon Hagibis hit. And it was all we could do. We, people traveling in Japan to get from place to place as they fled away from the typhoon. And I wound up in Kyoto in a pouring storm after riding on a train from Shin something, whatever, just jammed together with my suitcases, pouring in the rain, wall to wall. And I wasn't able to shave for that last week I was in Japan. So I didn't shave that last week. I came back to the States, and I'll turn this phone over so it's not distracting me. So I came back to the States, and I had not been paid my retirement pay. I'm like, whoa, where's my money? So I went into the barracks, and I went to the office, and they tried to research it. So I went over to my old office and said hello to people, and they're like, oh, cool, man. I had kind of like a Clooney beard. And they're like, you got a nice beard, man. That's pretty good. So I was like, wow. Anyway, so I had to go see my mother who was suffering from cancer, and I didn't want to go it was kind of unruly. So I shaved clean and went to Ohio. I saw my mother, and then I came back, and I still hadn't been paid on December 1st. So I went over to see the Army again, and I walked back in my old offices, and several people said, hey, where'd your beard go? That looked pretty good. So I said, let me see what it looks like. So I let it start growing in December of 2019, December 2019. And then the COVID scam started. And, you know, since they were oppressing people, silencing people, arresting people for not violating any laws, my only recourse was to do something that was a clear, visible sign of, you know, protest. And I said, well, let the beard grow. So I let the beard grow, and it grew down to my navel within 17 months. 17 months. 17 months, folks. That's how quickly it grew. Anyway, and my first trip to South Africa, I'd already trimmed it up to about here, but it was still down below my breast, right about here is where my beard was. Maybe a little further down than that. Those who saw me on that trip remember that. But I often got mistaken for a homeless man when I was out exercising, so I trimmed it back, and I said I would cut it when they act like adults. Well, they're still not acting like adults, and I don't really like the beard, but it's become a signature item. It's kind of become a trademark, so that's why the beard is still there. So, I seriously doubt, Alan, that somebody's calling you and speaking out for cons to you to talk about the RefG program. I would not worry about that. Check your email in your spam folder. All right. Yes, Dylan, during lockdown, I grew it. That's correct. Over the course of 17 months before I trimmed it up the first time. There you go. Virtual Western Cape says, take it for someone who used to be homeless. Okay. Yeah, Joe wouldn't have noticed the government shutdown. It was pretty much. It's Pro Vitboy here. I thought, hey, what's going on, Pro? Thank you, Demi. Yeah, a lot of people like it. It makes me look a lot older than I am. Although, let's look at, other than these bags coming occasionally, not really much in the way of wrinkles here, is there? Just cut my birthday cake for my kids. Congratulations, Charlene. Happy birthday to the kids or kids. You have twins? You're welcome, Relaxing Positive Energy. It's my pleasure. Leave Chris and his beard alone. How did the Chinese violate my trademark? What did they do? What did they do? Did they make a AI of me? So I thought I had this video saved, but I don't see it here. So, interesting. I don't know where it's at. Disappeared here. Interesting. Yeah, that was the plan last year. I started trimming it down. And I said it would go after Christmas, most likely, and it didn't. So, I don't know. Our Santa Claus, who does the Santa Claus for breakfast with Santa every year, just before Christmas, died this year. It's kind of sad. Generally, most people want to look younger, Colonel. While the beard suits you, you should take advantage of the younger look as long as you can. True. Well, it could be like the guy on Seinfeld, you know, who was dating Elaine. He was shaved his head, and she loved it. And for some reason, they said something about, well, maybe he's just bald. And he said he's not bald. So he tried to grow his hair back, and he had male pattern baldness. And he'd been shaving his head for so long, he didn't even notice he was bald. You're very welcome for the birthday wishes. Let's put up a cake for that, okay? Oh, my goodness. Let's put up a cake for that. So here is the cake. Oh, that's not the cake. That's the goat video. There's the cake. Rain incoming. Del Marie Mostart says, looks great with or without the beard. Well, thank you, Del Marie. Don't shave your head. No, I'm not shaving my head. No, I've been bald. It's not pretty. Nope. Not shaving my head at all. Not going to happen. Yep. Not going to happen. So there's the birthday cake. Had a beard for the last 25 years. Hate shaving. Much easier to earn points. Yeah, William, I don't mind shaving. But I have to admit, there's a spot here that's where the hair has gotten a little bit lower, like right here. Over here, it's up here, but somehow some barber trimmed me here. Now there's hair here, and it gets caught on my shirt. It's very annoying, and it's hard to shave there. It's really irritating. I have to do it every day. Very irritating. Anyway, looting opportunity. What are they talking about? You just got a while back, look exactly like you, Colonel. Oh yeah. Well, people do that. They do that. Yeah. So. Here, I think I've shown you guys some of this stuff before. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see. Nothing here in the downloads? That's interesting. All right, that's not going to help me then. Let me go over here and try it this way. Google Photos. It used to be Picasso. I loved it when it was Picasso. Switch account. This one here. Out of storage. Yeah, I know I'm out of storage. You guys are turds. Continue without storage. I'm not paying you people more for this crap. I didn't ask you to put my stuff on there. You're automatically loading it. All right, so. All right, here we go. Let's do a little review of stuff here. So here I am in first grade. First grade. That's a little bit later. Boy, what a stupid haircut that was. Look at those Elvis collars. There's my brother Jerry and I. There I am as baby. That's my first football outfit. Yep. Washington Redskins. That's with my grandmother. See the blonde hair? Got a little belly on me there. Yep. Look at that shirt. Woo, man. Look at that shirt. The only birthday party I ever had. That's when I went fishing in Scranton, Pennsylvania, first time ever caught those 2 fish. Look at me wearing an army outfit. That's after I graduated high school. Christmas, 1982, I think. It couldn't be 82, no, 81. In high school, 1981 Christmas. That's me with my calf, Frida. International Harvester SUV behind us there. On the farm. There I am with my little sister Jennifer and my brother Jerry, my brother Brian, my calf Frida, and my little sister putting a noose around my stepfather who's passed away on the farm back in Ohio. There I am with my little sister. See the blonde hair? That's me as a teenager in 1979. I would have been about 15 there. I look like I'm about 6. She was free. She was a Morgan horse. Morgan horses aren't supposed to have white paint on them, but she was a throwback, so she was given to us for free. And there's a Chevrolet pickup truck that we had, one of 2. That's me in high school. That is me in high school in 1980, 80 or 81. I'm 80. I'm 15 years old there. 15 years old. Do I look like a 15-year-old? Wow. There's my sister B, my little sister Jennifer, my brother Brian, myself in the middle there, and then my little brother Jerry. Harper's Ferry. Same picture we saw earlier. There's my aunt who died from HIV, sadly. Phyllis and me on the beach. Ocean City. That's in Birmingham, Alabama. That's, is it Birmingham or Redstone? I'm not sure. I think it was Birmingham. Anyway, that's my mom and me as a baby. November 1966. There's my sister B and my brother Jerry. Easter, 1970. I found Santa. Somebody holding me. I don't know who that is. It's a Christmas back in the 60s. There's my uncle and his kids and me in there. Along with my father. I'm standing there with the checkered shirt in the middle. Blonde hair on the top row. That's my grandfather and me in November 1966. I wasn't even 2 years old, and there's my mom. I remember that. I actually remember that. I've always remembered my entire life. There I am at school. I think that's me. That is me, for sure. June 1966. About 18 months old. I didn't know I was going to be tall until after I left high school, was in college. There I am with, I believe, my aunt. That's me with my ancestors in Loudon Park Cemetery in Baltimore. I went back to this stone in the 1990s, 30 years later. Here I am in August 67. In the playpen. That's me. There I am, yawning with the blonde hair. It's my father and me. My mother was cut out of this picture. It was cut in 2. There I am on the left with my father. That's at Harper's Ferry in 66, 18 months old. So I've been going to Harper's Ferry since 1966. There's my father, my grandfather, and me. 3 generations in November 1966. There we are again. With my father. That's my father with all three of us, my sister and my little brother. That's my mom and me, or my sister. I'm not sure which one that was. It's my sister. And there I am with Santa. It's me on the beach at Ocean City. I'm there with my grandfather again. I think that's enough of that. You guys don't need to see any more of that. Oh, wait, here's a cute one. I like this one. Yeah, there you go. See the strawberry blonde hair? Yep, strawberry blonde hair. Still have my milk teeth there. Look at that. Ah, okay, I got a few more here. There you go. That's a little bit later. Look at the hair starting to turn red now from the strawberry blonde. And look at those psychedelic 1970s color shirts, man. Silk. Look at that gap in my teeth. Those are my older teeth. That's a gap in my teeth. I took care of that gap all on my own. Yeah, here's my birth, Bond Secure Hospital. 6:30 in the morning. 6 pounds, 6 ounces. Wasn't exactly big. Yep. Ah, this one I always liked. This is my grandmother's house with her dog. That one I always liked. That's pretty cool. So this was in junior high school. I was in 8th grade here in Ohio when that picture was taken. Ah, here's one of my favorite ones. This is where I look mischievous. This is as a baby, okay? I like this one. Yeah, who knew what I was going to get up to? Yep. This one's cute. Look at all the freckles. I don't know if you can see them very clearly on your screen, but look at all the freckles, the blue eyes, the maroon brunette hair. I had a dirty shirt on, if you look at that, or the photo stained. It's a stain around my collar there. That's a school picture. I think that's 6th grade or 7th grade. And I stand corrected. I had 2 birthday parties. This was the first one. There's my father wearing some kind of military outfit. He wasn't in the military. Anyway. So there you go, folks. That's me as a little kid. A little kid. Anyway. JP sent me an email. Okay, October 12th. Okay, and you honestly think I would have read it already? $12.54 Zulu. Well, that doesn't help me. Okay. Oh, yeah, I got that, JP. Okay, there's really not anything here. You wrote to me twice. Oh, here you go. This doesn't show. Okay, sorry. Sorry, JP. This picture. I hate Gmail. It just collapses everything. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha, JP. Yeah, just because I don't respond doesn't mean I've read messages. Got it. Thank you. South Park in Pennsylvania, the one, the cartoon. No, I have no idea where South Park is based at. I don't watch it. It's annoying. You're welcome, JP. Reminds me with the photographs on South Africa. It was such a different country then. Yeah. Thank you, Estelle. I'm glad you like them. Yes, underneath all this gray, I was, well, till puberty, I was a strawberry blonde. And then my hair went brunette. And then as I got older, it got a little bit darker. So yeah, it's my hair has changed. It's like eyes. You know, some people's eyes are blue and then they turn hazel later on. So, yep. Well, Rebecca, I don't know. My mother was proud. I don't know if anybody else is. My mother was definitely proud. My father was proud too. And my stepfather, who just passed away, was also proud. The first stepfather. So, yeah. I tried. I'm sure we all do things we regret, but most of what I've done in my life, I'm pretty content with. Over-trusting on what, Del Marie? Showing those pictures? Some of them are available online, so it really doesn't matter. People stole your photos from break-ins? That's some sick people. What is Oregon like in general? What is Oregon like? It's a leftist paradise. It's full of wokesters, especially Portland. Eastern Oregon, that isn't the case. Lots of conservatives out there. But politically, if you're conservative, nothing will ever go your way in Oregon because the leftists dominate the state. It's heavily forested. It's beautiful. Lovely place. Nice place to pass through. Nice place to visit. I'm sure it's a nice place to live. But the rich, arrogant Oregonians who got themselves insinuated into Portland many, many decades ago have all but stopped development there and hampered the development of the city. But yeah, it's a place to live and just chill. It's all right. Yep, I've been to Oregon. Yep. In fact, I've been every one of the lower 48 states now, I think. Pretty sure North Dakota is one I haven't been. I've been there now. Yep. Thank you, Pearl. You really did look much younger than you actually were. Yeah, well, that's that. Let me show you something. Okay, hang on. Let me... Let's go to, okay, here's Army. What? I mean no results. It's nonsense. Oh, this is the wrong one. Why am I in that one? There we go, back to here. Okay, good. Now I got it. Okay, there we go. All right, let me show you a few pictures of me in the Army, and I'll show you just random ones here. Okay. Okay, so here I am in basic training. There, I'm 18 years of age. Okay, you could say 18. That looks like 18, I suppose. December 1983, that was. Here I am in basic training with my roommate. Also 18 there. Okay, and then let me find one. Okay, this is me in 1985, so here, I'm 20, so that's me at 20. As a sergeant. Okay. Here I am in 1991, so I'm approaching, it's 27 here. There I am at 27. Don't look 27. And here I am in Italy in 1997. Here I am 33, 34. Look like I'm about 18 there. I think I still have that tie. Don't know about the shirt. Here I am in Germany in 1985, going back a ways with my friend Mike Walton, who was from Pennsylvania. I don't know why I'm carrying those jeans. I forget what happened there. That's the barracks. The building I lived in was not the one over my shoulder, but the one to the left you can't see. The dormitory, or the barracks, I should say. Here I am in 2007. So here I'm already over 40. Is that right? No, 7. Yeah, I'm 43. That's me at 43. On the beach in Monrovia. The disgusting water there. Ugh. Okay. Here I am in 2012. Here I am over the Okavango Delta in a BDF helicopter in 2000, and this would have been 2010, I think it was. Yeah. Okay. This is 2007. You can't see my face very well because I got it zoomed up. Let me shrink it down a little bit. It won't go down much. Oops, hang on a second. There we go. This is with Brownie Samika, the defense minister. And there I'm in my mid-40s. This is at ROTC in the 1990s. Here I'm already 30. I was a captain. You can see a lot less ribbons. All right, I'm in 1997, taking over command of the Chenza Military Intelligence Detachment from General Smith, the two-star general. I think it was General Smith. I'm a captain there, and I'm approaching 40. Here I am in Liberia in 2018, and so that's 7 years ago. And here I'm in my early mid-50s with the Liberians. Every one of these is soldiers I brought into the military back in 2007, and here they're all senior officers, including a general. Yep, in the Liberian Forces, Armed Forces Library. They gave me an award. It's very kind of them. I later got another award. Much more significant one. Thank you. Okay. So this is me in Bosnia in 1998. Yeah. This is with one of the counterintelligence warrant officers in Bosnia. Same time. You see I had a mustache there. He used to work really hard. This is one of my favorite photos. This is 1994. This is at Fort Huachuca at the lodging when I arrived there. It's the first time I grew any facial hair. 1994 while I was on holiday. I love that one. Look at that. That's a good one there. I look like a 60s, rock music producer or something like that. Oh, boy. Anyway, that's enough of that. Enough of that. All right, so time to wrap it up with that stuff. So, anybody still here? Down to 300 people. Yes, life does go fast, Sean. Good to see you have so many pics. My sister was in the Navy, and she has lots of pics. Yeah, I wish I had a lot more. I just have some key moments, but not enough of them. Yeah, men are always so proud of the military photos, deserving thereof. Thank you, Del Marie. Yes, I did put up the fall decor. People did notice that. Fall's over there, over there. Just keep it right there. Also got the little dudes hanging out up there. Got the birds up here. And behind me, I've got the pumpkins on that side. And I've got the fall sign on this side. So yes, I did put up some fall decor. Right, folks. Be sure to watch the content. I will probably be doing a video later on about the behavior of Trevor Manuel. So I don't think many people watch that, but I'll probably do it. Anyway, cool beans. Thanks to all those answering my questions. Appreciate it. Okay, Naomi, I'm not sure I answered your questions. Maybe people in the chat did. You guys are welcome. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. Don't forget, tomorrow, Rob Hersoff at 4 p.m. South Africa time right here on the channel, which will precede the news. All right? So there you go. Yep. All righty. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for being here. God bless and have a good day.